I want to show you guys my simple tree trimming setup. This is the Milwaukee quick lock pole saw. This is the older style head unit. The new one's a little bit different. It's got the extension on there. And this is the M12 hatchet. This pole saw I've had for about 5 years. It's been used a lot. I've used a lot of attachments on this power head. I've got the edger, I've got the hedge trimmer, the articulating hedge trimmer, and let's see what else. The string trimmer, which I don't really use that too often anymore, but once in a while I use that. This thing's got a lot of hours on it. I had another one of these same head units for like 2 or 3 years before this, and I used it a ton. I was using it with the string trimmer. I only had battery powered tools at the time, so it was like all I was using. And what ended up happening was I was using it with the pole saw one day, and it just broke right about here, but I had put so many hours on it. I just went out and got another one. And this pole saw end is held up really, really well. But I did break one of these by pinching it in a tree. I was cutting a pretty big branch with it, so it was just user error. I pinched the bar really bad and it broke the housing. Mini chainsaw for a solid 5 years. It's been used a lot. The only problem I ever had with it was with the battery, actually. On another battery I had, the tabs eventually broke off, so the battery wouldn't stay clicked in and it wouldn't stay connected. But after replacing the battery about a year ago, still running it. It's got this great platform step here that folds up with a ladder. It does kind of get in the way a little bit sometimes of the folding, but it's completely worth it. So to telescope this thing out, as you just unlatch everything and just like that. Feature of this ladder I definitely wouldn't go without anymore is it's got levelers. So you just push that. When you're on uneven ground, you can only do this on one side, but you can extend up and down. So I got some spindly trees here, and I'm going to be cutting quite a bit off of these, but these branches aren't really that big. And I want to show you guys how I can get through this job really easily with batteries. No gas is needed. It's going to be a little bit quieter. I don't have to wear my hearing protection. Grab and go. I don't have to keep ripping the cord. Let's do this. I'm going to switch it over to my mini chainsaw right now for these lower branches. This is such a convenient and useful saw. And I know a lot of guys might think, oh, what's that thing going to do that, you know, my top handle won't do? It doesn't have that much power. This thing is just agile. It's really light. I mean, it's pretty light. It's got a little bit of weight, but you can just get in anywhere with it. One hand on a branch where you control the branch and throw it to the side. And the power could be a little better. This battery is only like half charged. They make an 18 volt version of this as well if you want more power, but I just kind of assume stick with the really compact one. I just sharpened this chain last night as well. But the chains on this thing stay sharp for a really long time. You can get like so many days out of it as long as you're not hitting rocks. Here's a thicker branch right here. This tree's pretty soft. Not really sure what kind of tree this is, but the wood's definitely not hard. I've put so many hours on this little saw, I really can't even guess how many. I use it for grab and go stuff. I use it for little decent sized jobs that are like this. Quieter for the neighbors, definitely doesn't hurt, and these tools just work. There's a lot of tools I wouldn't use electric. I wouldn't try to do big weed whacking jobs. I wouldn't try to do big blowing jobs with battery tools, but for these little saws, oh, they're great. I wouldn't want to do any really big cutting with them. I've got gas chainsaws. You guys could see in like one of my other videos, I cut up a pretty big log and stuff. There's definitely plenty of stuff out there that would be tough to do. I really like about this little saw, the chain hardly ever gets thrown off the bar. Even if you're just dragging it across little stuff like that. I've had this chain come off maybe a handful of times in all the years I've owned it. With this one, it's just got the one little bar cover nut here. And it's kind of hard to get the chain, you know, fully tight. There's always a little bit of slack on it, but it doesn't really seem to matter even if the chain is a little bit loose, because I'll tighten this down sometimes and it'll just kind of spring right back. All right, I've cut all that so far. Tree's starting to take shape pretty nicely. I did all of that, well, mostly all of that besides what I did with the mini chainsaw on this old 5-amp battery. And now it's pretty much, yeah, it's gone. So I'm gonna go grab a fresh battery. You guys know, I think really the toughest thing about pole saw tree trimming is just the weight of it you feel from the leverage. I mean, it's not really that heavy of a tool, but when you've got all that length just leveraging over, especially if you're up on a ladder, which you should make sure you're good and comfortable on ladders, or you shouldn't really even be doing this. But yeah, it's just fighting through the tree with it, getting snagged up on branches, trying to drag the branches down. The pole saw does have this hook on it. I think pretty much all of them have that hook to grab branches, but it could be a lot of work. I just had a much needed lunch, so I've already trimmed all that. And pile number 2 over here. And I just refilled the bar oil, so 1 tank of bar oil got me through all that cutting. And I wanted to show that, so I've got a bar nut from a Steel. It's like from a aftermarket bar nut for 391 Farm Boss. So you can put bigger bar nuts on here because it comes with a smaller bar nut, but a Steel one fit on there. So here's how this tree's looking. I like it okay, but I definitely need to trim some of those long twigs on top. Unfortunately, I got to get back up there and do that. So the thing about pole saw tree trimming is I can't always make the cut exactly where I want to, either because I can't reach it, or the angle of the bar, I can't get the angle of the bar right to make the cut so it binds up in there. Also, sometimes the saw will skip around a little bit. It'll jump from one branch to a neighboring branch and nick that a little bit. I always try my best not to let that happen. On these trees, it doesn't matter quite as much because, like I said, we're just kind of doing a rough cut on these and not really worrying too much about it. Now I'm just trying to get all the tallest branches, bring the height down a little bit. Typically I would cut branches like right above where the growth. I'd make sure there's some green left on it, but I'm just basically getting whatever I can reach with these. The branch I just cut is floating right here. This tree is not too bad as far as getting the branches out because there's quite a bit of spacing. It's not like a real tight bushy tree, but there's always some challenges with getting these branches out, no matter what. Here's another branch that I cut before lunchtime. Let's see if I can get it with the hook. Now I'm exerting myself. Oh. See, this one's putting up a fight. I mean, this starts getting exhausting pretty quick. All right, got it. Neighbors must be loving me today, being super quiet. I'm not having to wear any ear protection, which is really nice. It's keeping me cooler. I've got the 8 amp hour Forge battery on here. This is like Milwaukee's most current batteries. These came out, oh, what, maybe a year ago or something like that. So they've got improved cooling. They've got some venting on the bottom. They charge really fast if you've got one of the superchargers. There's a couple different supercharger models. Battery in here after lunch. I already made quite a bit of cuts with it. We're at 3 out of 4 bars. So they do last a while. You really can cut out here when you're doing tree trimming on just all day on just a couple batteries. It depends on what you're cutting. If you're making really, really big cuts up there, you're cutting, you know, stuff this big, you might use a little more batteries than that, but it really goes. The slider is heavy, guys. That's the only thing I don't love about it. And I usually just move it when it's open like this. I just find that collapsing it is just too much of a pain, so I'd rather just move it open. Oh, okay, branches everywhere. I'm happy with how it's going, real happy. I'm not going for perfection on these trees, just bringing the size down a lot. And more pile over there. And I definitely want to clip some of the charges at now. 2 bars still. That's why I keep using a battery pole saw, guys. They just work. I've got a steel combi power head, so I got a gas power head, and I could easily get a pole saw attachment for it, an extension, and have a gas pole saw, but I just don't see any reason. I think this might even be faster. That's it for the day, and I'm worn out. Well, thanks, guys. And if you've never seen a battery pole saw being used before, hopefully this gives you a pretty good idea of what you can do with them. I think they're great tools. I still haven't found the need to get a gas pole saw, even though I do quite a bit of tree trimming. And I do think that battery powered pole saws and other small chainsaws are ready for prime time. Over and out. Take care.